All right, YouTube, I guess here we go. I am starting this YouTube channel to talk about starting and growing my service business. Specifically, I am working on fences. I have a fence business. And when I say business, I don't really like to use that term. It's not much of a business. It's me trying to get people to pay me to build their fences all by myself. So technically, yes, it is a business, but there's not much to it. I am brand new, and I figured while I'm going through this journey and all the struggles and stress that comes with it, I might as well document everything I learned from it so that hopefully maybe somebody else can use this to help grow a business of their own, or at least maybe help them not to fail in the same ways that I do, because I have and I will have plenty of screw ups and failures, and my goal is to be transparent with all of it and share everything on here and kind of just go through the process of what it looks like to start and grow a company with no real knowledge of how to do it. I'm learning everything on the fly. No existing customer base, no money, and a family of 5 to support, counting myself. I have a wife and 3 young kids, and my wife stays home with the kids, homeschools them, and so it is all on me and the income I'm able to produce from this business to support and provide for this family. So, I'm not in an easy situation. So that's kind of what motivated me to do this, is that, it might be relatable to some people out there who, are struggling to figure out what to do or how to do it when you have no money, you have mouths to feed, and you really have no support structure. So it may not work out for me. I'm just being honest. I'm going to try to make it work out, and if it does, that's great. So the point, though, is to just kind of document my journey, and hopefully it is of use to someone else someday. So for this video, I'm just going to kind of walk through where I'm at, because I'm not at the very, very beginning of this journey yet. I'm starting to document this about 1.5 years in. So just do a quick little summary and catch up of what I've done so far and where I'm at. So my skill set is in, I guess, call it residential construction, outdoor carpentry. Specifically now, fence work is my focus. I started about 10 years ago doing this with no knowledge or experience on how to do it. I just saw something about how much money you could make building a deck. So I had a friend of mine who had a deck that needed a bunch of work, and I offered to work on it for free just to get a little experience. She let me, and I did absolutely terrible work on it. But, I got my foot in the door. And, from there I started to pick up more work. And basically I was just upfront with people that, hey, I don't have a lot of experience, but I will do this work for you for free if you allow me to gain some experience through your project. And, some people aren't okay with that, but a lot of people were. And of course, I always did my research as best I could and did the best work I possibly could, in spite of my lack of experience and skills in it. But anyways, I did that for a while, and I started picking up more and more little jobs, not making a whole lot of money, but I was learning. I was learning how to build decks, and not going to get too far in the weeds in this part. But from there, it kind of progressed. I started doing some pergolas, stuff like that, and then eventually I found my way into fence work. And long term, that is what I decided to focus on, was fence work. So this was a while ago, about a decade ago in Oklahoma, that I started this. Not too long after getting going with it. I had no real customer base. My only source of leads was Home Advisor, which at the time, and I think it's now Angie's List or Angie Leads or something. But me and my family had an opportunity and ended up moving out to Memphis, Tennessee. So we moved out there and we're starting over. Out there, it was kind of an up and down process. I moved out there to do some real estate investing stuff with my brother who lived there. And so that was, in the beginning, my main focus moving out there. But I was doing fence work on the side at that time when we moved out there, just because I needed the extra income. And so I started doing the same thing out there, got a Angie Leads account and set it up and started just picking up one-off fence jobs and stuff like that. And we lived there for about 4 years. The real estate stuff never really took off. I'm still somewhat involved in that. And it did okay. It did, for the most part, support my family, but never became what we wanted it to. But that's beside the point. Throughout the time of living there and working on that, I grew a small fence company out there, and I ended up having a contract crew I worked with, ended up being real good friends of mine. And then one other guy I brought in as a partner later on in the process. And long story short on that, we did grow a customer base somewhat, nothing crazy. A lot of the work came from Angie Leads, a little bit came from Facebook ads, and a little bit came from, actually a decent amount came from Google ads. And there was a little bit of like organic traffic through Google and stuff, but it was never really anything super consistent other than for short periods. But again, long story short on that, it was a disaster. I made a lot of poor decisions throughout that process, tried to grow it much quicker than it was ready to grow, added on a lot of expenses that I absolutely didn't need, and in the end, shut that business down. Some family things came up that gave us basically an opportunity to move out to Texas, where I am now, and pretty much start from scratch. And the business there was in a spot where I was okay shutting it down and starting over, because I made a lot of very poor decisions in the process of building that business up. And it was not a profitable business by any stretch of the imagination. Did not pay me hardly anything. It wasn't going to work. And it ended up putting me and my partner, who I drug into it, into a pretty bad position. So everything's okay now. We got that shut down. We lucked out there that when we moved out there, we bought a house when market was down, and shortly after it skyrocketed. So we were able to sell our house there, pay off a bunch of debt, kind of get a somewhat clean break. We moved out here to Texas, and basically my goal here was to get a fresh start, take the lessons I learned, and do it again, but do it right this time. So we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so we're in a big market. There's a lot of competition, but that's okay. There's plenty of work to go around. And my goal here was to try to get into a place where my living expenses are as low as possible. I wouldn't say as low as possible. We could have gone lower, but definitely, pretty modest living for the most part. And just try to make it as easy as I could on myself. Because one big issue I've had in the past, in Memphis and everything else, was trying to grow this with a lot of expenses and not being able to take any of the money I made in the business and put it back into the business to help it grow. I was having to drain the business of every penny it made just to try to support myself and my family and anybody I was working with. And it was just bleeding it dry. And so here I didn't want to make that one mistake again. So starting it with just basic tools. I've got a set of hand tools, battery powered Milwaukee hand tools, and a few other things. And then I have a 16-foot enclosed trailer and a truck, and so that's what I'm starting with. And my goal is to not add any unnecessary expense, but to just put myself out there. I set up an LLC here in Texas and start putting myself out there and taking it one job at a time and doing the absolute best work I can on each job to leave these customers as happy as possible, so that over time, it'll take a lot of time, I can start building up referral work from past customers. And in my head, and still right now, that is my long-term plan, is to get my business through referrals from past customers or repeat work because of the quality of work I do. So it's been a huge focus of mine, is the quality of work. I'm not putting up junk. I have in the past, and I've learned that it's more stressful and less profitable to go and do a job and to cut corners and do it quick, get in and out, and try to make as much as you can on that one job, because there's going to be issues that come up. They're going to be calling you back to fix things, which cost a lot of money and time, and it puts a lot of stress on you. And then you're also not going to get that repeat work or referral work from that person, and it's just not a good plan. So I quickly started working on my quality and doing things the right way, doing it better than industry standards. And so that's where I'm at now, and I believe I do that well. And so that is my main focus here. So I set up an LLC, just to give you a quick summary of where I'm at now. About a year and a half ago, I set up the LLC, and I stopped doing the Angie leads and stuff. It was just too expensive, and the lead quality was not great. Maybe, part of it was me misusing that platform and not getting the most out of it that I could have, but ultimately I didn't really like it. I started off just running some Facebook ads. I set up a business Facebook page and started running some Facebook ads. It's not perfect, but it is a cheap way to get your business name out in front of people. And I did start picking up, a few messages, people reaching out, wanting quotes on fence work and stuff. And I started picking up some work that way. And I still use that today. But that's kind of how I got started and got my foot in the door in this market. And so each job I would pick up on there, I'm okay with small or large jobs, just because I want to build a base of customers that have used me, know me, and are happy with my work. Whether it's a tiny fence repair or building a brand new fence around an entire yard, whatever it is. I just wanted to build up that customer base. And so I started picking up these just one-off jobs, nothing much, didn't pay a whole lot, but I would go out and I'd do the best work I possibly could, be friendly, be genuine, and be honest with these people, and get them to leave me a review. So another thing I set up immediately with the Facebook page and everything is a Google profile, so that my business is actually on Google there, and people can leave me reviews on that. And so every customer I finish a job for, I ask them to leave me a review on Google, so that I can slowly build up my Google profile, and it'll start organically showing up in searches. I'm not there yet. As of today, a year and a half in, I don't believe I'm hardly showing up on any Google searches. People aren't finding me that way. So today, still my main source of business is Facebook ads. I am starting to get a little more referral work, which is good. But I'm really ultimately trying to get the Google profile ranking higher in Google searches so that people can find me organically on there, and kind of boost the amount of calls and quotes I'm able to put out. So this process has been anything but perfect. Again, it's hard to do this while trying to support a family. This is our only source of income. And, some months I'll get enough work to cover our expenses, our bills and groceries and all of that. Most months I don't, if I'm being honest. And with that, we're slowly slipping into a little bit of debt, which kind of scares me, because that was a situation we got into in Memphis that we ended up selling our house out there to get out of. And, we were lucky to be able to get out of that. And so here, we moved out here, I'm starting a new business. I don't have much to show. I can't get a mortgage, so we're renting a house. I don't have a house that I own that I can have equity in to sell later on to bail me out again. I don't have a bailout this time. So it's all going to hinge on this business and me getting it off the ground and getting enough work, starting out just getting enough work to cover my bases and not start, trickling into more and more debt. So right now, to be fully honest and transparent, the point of this channel is that is not working as of right now. I'm not getting enough work to cover my bases. So I have slipped into a little bit of debt. Now, I'm not throwing in the towel or anything. I'm not anywhere near that. I'm going to keep working because this is my way out. It's my only way out. I've looked into getting a full-time job, but in all honesty, the cost of living is so high, I don't feel like the job market has really caught up to it. So it would be incredibly hard for me to find a job out there that would pay well enough to support a modest lifestyle for me, supporting a family of 5. And to get into a situation, even if I were to find a job that just barely squeaked us by, it's going to take up almost all of my time, and it's going to take away from this fence company that I'm trying to grow. And long term, I feel like it will hurt me. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm not. I'm putting all my marbles. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Putting all my eggs in this basket. I'm going all in on this fence company, and I'm determined to make it work. And so I feel like doing these videos like this could maybe be a way to help keep me accountable in the things I say I'm going to do. If I get any sort of audience or viewership from this, maybe if I make some claims of stuff I'm going to do on here, since there's actually people I'm saying that to, maybe I'll actually follow through with it. I feel like it could help me in that way, just keep me accountable. But where I'm at right now is it's a struggle getting work. That's my main thing. I've got the process of building the fence down and whatnot, and maybe I'll do some videos with some more detail of that and how I do that, and how I learned how to build a fence and everything. But I just wanted to do this kind of intro video to kind of give you my backstory and where I'm at now and what I'm trying to do. But my biggest pain point right now is getting the phone to ring, just getting leads. When I get leads and I'm able to put out quotes, I'm not a salesman by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm honest, and I'll tell people exactly what they're going to get. and I give it to them exactly the way I say I'm going to give it to them. So I'm able to close leads at a decent rate, I feel like, when I have them. But my biggest problem right now that I'm seeing is just getting those leads. I'm running a Facebook ad. I'm pretty much constantly running Facebook ads. I try to post regularly on Facebook. And when I make just a post of putting up pictures of a job I just did, I always try to boost that for about a week. I am currently running a Google ad. That is not working well. I'm sure I've done a terrible job of setting it up. I'm continuing to tweak it, and I'll do a video of how I have that set up and everything, how I have my Facebook ads set up. I'll do different videos on this stuff. And then I'm also using a new AI program to kind of post articles on my website to help gain organic traffic to my website. That's brand new, something I've been doing for just a few days. So results from that are to be seen. We'll see how that does. I'm hopeful for it. But that is where I'm at. I am in desperate need of getting more leads, closing these leads, building these jobs. Another big issue is I am all alone in this. I have no employees. I have no contractors that I work with on these jobs. I do all the administrative stuff. I do my own marketing. I do my own accounting. I do my own operational stuff. I build the fences 100% by myself. That is not my goal to do that forever, but for right now, my goal is to keep things as simple as possible and cost down as low as possible until I'm able to consistently build up a base of business, where I have more predictable job flow and cash flow that I'm able to bring in. Maybe, I might start with bringing somebody in as a 1099 guy to help me on jobs as needed. Eventually maybe hire a full-time employee, so on and so forth. But that's going to be down the road. I hope that happens within the next year or so, that I'll start working into that. I have no idea. I don't know how this is going to progress, but I'm going to work my butt off and trying to get it to these places where I want it. And so right now it's just me. Every aspect of the business is just me. And I'm okay with that. And I can support my family that way. But it does bottleneck how much growth I can have. So I do eventually, if I want to grow this beyond a certain point, I'll need to hire employees and so on and so forth. But right now, my main focus is to get a good flow and a good inflow of leads. So I can start consistently putting out quotes, start getting data on how many of those quotes I'm actually able to close, and do the job, and go from there. But right now, if I were to pull up my schedule, I've got one, maybe two jobs. Well, I've got two jobs on the schedule right now. One is a very small one, and one's okay, nothing great. So that's not great, especially when I got 3 kids and a wife that depend on me. So I need to fill my schedule. I need to do it quickly. And I'm going to kind of take y'all through that process, and we're going to see how it goes. It may crash and burn, and if it does, I intend to post that on here and be honest and transparent with it. I hope somebody's able to learn something from my mistakes that I'm ultimately going to make, but I also ultimately hope I have some successes and that people are able to learn from that as well. I am learning a lot as I go. This isn't a channel where I've got all the answers and I'm going to share them with you. I'm trying to figure out the answers, and hopefully y'all can, find those. Maybe y'all can help me find those through this process. So that is, in a nutshell, roughly where I'm at right now. If you have any questions or anything, I guess put them in the comments. I will read those, and I will make more videos. My goal is to maybe make 2 or 3 videos a week. I hope to stay accountable to that and actually do it, and see what happens with this. But also, I want to say I'm not putting the name of my company out there on this. And if by some miracle these videos take off and I end up getting a lot of viewership or whatever, I don't want this channel to be the reason for my fence company's growth. I want the process of that growth to come from a normal, organic place, as if somebody else were doing it without YouTube or anything else. And I don't think this YouTube channel is ever going to be something that actually would contribute to that. But in case it ever did, I don't want that to affect my company's growth, because I want to be able to post videos on how that process goes in a real way that people can relate to. I'm sure people could figure out the name of the company if they wanted to, so I'm not going to put the name of the company out there, or exactly where I'm at or anything on that, but I'm going to walk through everything I do and the processes I go through, so that it can be relatable to other people going through the same thing, trying to start a business from scratch, trying to support a family without, any guaranteed income, or, I don't have a savings account right now. If I'm being honest, we are not set up for success right here. So I'm hoping I can make it happen from here and inspire some people. And I might not, though. I might fail. And that's all right. We'll get by either way, but this is my start on this channel. Hopefully I'm able to provide a lot of content that is helpful to the community, to other people like me. So let me know if you have any questions, what you want to see next, what you want me to do a video on within this business and what I do, and I'll do it. So guess that's it for this one. Appreciate it.